All right, this is on this worksheet. There is this data slide right here. Does gender make a difference? But the next slide has all the data for how many, whether they're male or female in a class that play an instrument or play a sport. And it has all of their data here for all 28 students in the class. So you use that data to answer these questions. So the first one says, Mrs. Spencer's fifth grade class is asked to complete a survey on the first day of school in which they are posed three questions. Are you male or female? Do you play a musical instrument? So in other words, they gathered all the data that's on that other page. So complete the two-way table to organize the data. So if you look right here, there were 12 boys who played a musical instrument, and they've already got some of it filled out for you. So this one, there's 19 boys in the class. So if 12 played an instrument, how many don't play an instrument? It would be 7. Now, to figure out how many girls play an instrument, so you go over here, and for girls, you just count how many girls played an instrument. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4. 4. So I go back over here, and in here, you put 4. And in here, we already said was 7. All right, so if there's 4 that play an instrument, play a musical instrument, and 5 that don't, then there's 9 here. And then you know that 9 plus 19 is 28. And obviously you can do 12 plus 4 is 16, and 7 plus 5 is 12, and fill out the rest of the table. Fill out the table. There's points for every single question on the table or on the paper. What does the 4 represent in the table? How many boys and girls play a musical instrument? Well, what's the 4 represent? It represents how many girls play a musical instrument. And then it says how many boys play a musical instrument? 12. So this one has 2 questions to it. What is the difference between the total number of boys in the class and the total number of girls in the class? So what's 19 minus 9? That goes there. All right. What percent of the boys are in class and what percent of the girls? Well, the boys, there's 19 out of 28. So you just put 19 over 28. 19 over 28. And then you get 67.9%, because you round this 5 makes this 8 go up to a 9. So 67.9%. Remember to move the decimal 2 spaces whenever you're changing it to a percent. And then what percent of the girls? You do it the same way. It's going to be 9 out of 28. So in the calculator, put 9 over 28 and figure it out. Now, use the information from Part A to complete the table using percentages. And they've done some of them for you so that you can kind of see what you're supposed to do. And if you look, see how they got 12 out of 28. So they did 12 out of 28. And then they did 19 out of 28, 19 out of 28. So guess what this one's going to be? Right here is going to be 7 out of 28. This one, 4 out of 28, and so on. Put those in the calculator, figure out what the percentages are. Again, don't forget to move the decimal and fill out the rest of the table. What does the 57.1% mean? So this 57.1% just means that's how many students in the class play a musical instrument, because it's the whole class. So what percent play a musical instrument? Based on the total number of boys in the class, what percent play a musical instrument? Right here, 19 out of 20, 19 out of 28. No, What percent of the boys? Based on the total number of boys, so we want the boys. What percent of the boys play a musical instrument? So it would be 12 out of 19. And the girls would be 4 out of 9. Okay? Put that percent right here and right here. Now, on the next page, use a side-by-side bar graph and use the information in the table from part E. So you go back to part E, that's this one right here, and then draw a side-by-side bar graph. So for the boys, if you look, they got 40-something percent that play an instrument and 20-something percent that don't. 40-something, and this is probably 20-something when you put it in the calculator. And same thing for the girls, only I'm going to put how many play an instrument and how many don't. So you got to draw a bar graph. So to draw a bar graph, all I'm going to do is grab a box, shape, here we go, do a shape and draw the shape. And for the girls, it was 17.9 that don't. So 17 would be about right there. And just get close and draw your box. Okay, and the only thing that you might do is if you can click in there and then fill it in with yellow so it matches this one. And then draw your bar graph here. See, I know it's 17.9 because that's right there. Whatever number you come up with here, put it right here, fill it, and then go up here to, where to go? The fill, and fill it in there. Fill it in with the green color for here. Okay? So if we go on, in addition to a side-by-side bar graph, segmented bar graphs are often used to display categorical data. The segment bar graph for the boys is drawn and from the graph using the information from part G. So now I go to part G for these two answers right here. And then I make a segmented bar graph. So what I would do is I would just make one box all the way to the top, like that. And then you can set a line separating it where it needs to be separated. So the instrument and the no instrument, the instrument's going to be about, I don't know, 40-something percent by the chart that you look at. And then the yellow is just going to be the rest. So if you can color it in, I'm not sure if it's going to let you color it in. Actually, this is about 40-something percent, right? Now, that's probably 50. So if we draw a line, which I did not draw a line, somewhere about right here. I want that, so make sure I get the line drawn away from those dots. And actually, it should be a little bit higher than this, but you kind of see what I'm talking about. Okay? And if you just separate it like that, I'm going to know, because I don't think you can color in part of it. You could make two boxes and stack them on top of each other right here. So I could put a box like right here. And then put another box on top and make one of them green, yellow, make this one yellow and make this one green. All right, so what is the numerical difference between the percent of the boys who play a musical instrument and the percent of girls who play a musical instrument? So you go back up to the percent of boys and girls who play a musical instrument. And then subtract them. So you should have filled them out somewhere. I think that was probably it. All right, so the girls who play a musical instrument. So this number, right? Let's see. Hold on just a second. Let me make sure. All right. So it's this part G right here. So you take this number minus this number, and that is going to be the answer to that. So right here. So the class assumes there is an association between gender and playing a musical instrument. Based on the results of the survey, are boys more likely to play a musical instrument than girls? So see how many play a musical instrument and answer that question. So are boys more likely than girls? And then explain it. If it's boys, then you put yes, there's more boys playing a musical instrument because they had certain percentage and the girls had a certain percentage. Okay. All right. So next page. All right. So number 2, it's the same type of thing. You just got to go fill out all the charts. So you got to go through and find all the boys who play a sport and count them. How many boys play a sport? There's 1. Let's see. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So there's 14 boys who play a sport. So I go back to here. And then in here, put 14. Okay. Figure out how many boys don't play a sport, how many there are total, and stuff like that. Just like we did the last one. So pretty much this plus the total you still know is 19 because there's only 19 boys. You know there's only 9 girls, and you know there's 28 in the class. So you know that already because it's the same as the last one. And then it says, what percent of the boys play a sport? So 14 out of 19. What percent of the girls play a sport? Whatever this number is, over 9. All right, complete the two-way table with percentages. So now we're going to take 14 out of 28. So right here, 14 divided by 28. Hopefully we don't need a calculator, but I'll show you anyway. 14 divided by 28 is 0.5. So right there, 0.5 as a percent is 50%. Okay? And I know it's off a little bit because of where I put my text boxes, but I tried to make this work to where you could fill in every single solitary cell. Okay? So do the percentages, 14 out of 28. The next one's going to be whatever this number is out of 28. This number is going to be whatever this number is out of 28. And then this one's going to be 28 out of 28. So that's 100%. So that's how you do those. All right, so now we got to make some more bar graphs. So use the information from the table to create a side-by-side bar graph. Well, I just said that was 50%. So let's make a box. Put it right here at 50%. There we go. We got one like that. And then I'm going to make it green again just because that's what it was a minute ago. So green. There. All right. Now really I should probably, just so I label my key correctly, and I should have put one of these in there, but you can add a little box right there to label your key. So the ones that play a sport, so it should show up like that. Then you want to do another box right next to it of how many don't play a sport, like so. And I'm just guessing at this spot, okay, because we haven't done the math on that. You've actually got to look at this chart up here to figure out how many have not played a sport. Make it yellow. and then do the same thing for the girls. So you should have 4 bar graphs right here. Okay. Now, on the other side, we do the same thing to where it's the numbers that play a sport and do not play a sport again, only now we make it a side-by-side one to where it goes straight to 100, but you really got 2 of them stacked on top of each other. So there were so now we're looking at this side right here, these 2 right here, okay? So there were so many that did play, boys that played. So it was about 60 something. I think it was 67.9. So you can see where I got that answer up there. So I put that there. And then I put the box right on top of it. Like this. And then I make that one yellow, the bottom one green, like so. Okay, and then you do the same thing for the girls. All right. So actually this was, yeah. All right, next one. Is there association between gender and playing a sport? And then you just say, is there, by looking at the data, is there an association between it? It's either yes or no. On number 3, the next page, right here, they've already got this chart filled out for me. So they say, what does the 10 represent? Well, the 10 represents how many play a sport but don't play an instrument. That's the answer. How many students play sports? Right here, how many students play sports? There's the total. What percent of the students who play sports also play an instrument? So how many play sports and also play an instrument? So you got 11 out of 21. So right here you put 11 out of 21. What percent of the students who do not play a sport play an instrument? So right here, 5 out of 7. Put those in the calculator, get your percentage. Is there an association between let's see. Is there an association between playing a sport and playing an instrument? Support your answer numerically and graphically with a segmented bar graph. So again, you're going to make a bar graph right here. So 11 out of 21 was like 50 something percent. So you draw a bar graph here. Segmented bar graph, remember, is one that looks like this, where they're on top of each other. So they're going to add up to 100, but the first one is whatever that first percent is that you got on part C. Okay, on this part C. And then do one for how many don't play a sport. That's pretty much what you got on part C also, the second part. All right, so that helps you, that answers the rest. Let's see, is there another question? Oh yeah, support your answer numerically and graphically. So make the bar graph, and then is there an association between playing a sport and playing an instrument? Write that conclusion down there. All right, so that is all of this worksheet. If you have any questions, every day during class, I have a Google Meet. All you got to do is use your Google Meet link, and then you'll be in class with us. And then you can ask questions as we go. I'm going to go through it with everybody else, just like I was in class. So if you've got questions, you can always get on the Meet link during our class time. I'm also available during second period and eighth period if you want to meet individually to get caught up. All right, so if there's any questions, just email me or ask to meet with a Google Meet and ask me there.